What's up, how you doing? Here we are, beautiful day today. Beautiful day. It does not get better than this right now. Slight breeze, west to east, 1.12 miles per hour right now. Temperature is perfect, humidity is perfect. Saturday, nice day, perfect day. If I was in my, anyway, single digit years, right now I'd be watching, well, it would be the end, so right now I'd be out riding my bike. But if it was morning time on a Saturday when I was a kid, Saturday morning cartoons, all the way from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then if it was, nothing going on outside, or it was cold or whatever, I would watch later on in the afternoon, evening, I would watch bowling. Yeah, bowling. Back then, Earl Anthony was a star. And Mark Roth competing with him. I had this chair in my room that would spin. It was wide, and I'd sit down like this, turn the black and white Zenith television on. I had a Zenith in those days, black and white, and it would take about a minute to warm up, and then the image would pop up. So I never knew about the proper colors of the Hulk, because it was a black and white, so I didn't know what, they kept referring to him as green, and it didn't look green to me. Anyway, we're gonna try this beer I got. Just got it right now. It came from the supermarket. About to cook or barbecue hamburgers and hot dogs today. Something very simple, but I got them at the butcher shop there, so not your typical hot dogs. I got good beef hot dogs. So anyway, this is a beer. This beer right here, this bottle, I think is like $14 for this beer. Made in Belgium, product of Belgium. It's aged in oak. Number 3, I don't know what that means, but we're gonna try it. Never had it before. Always drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. Don't be a moron, get in your car and kill someone by accident on purpose, Never drink and drive. If you're gonna drink a lot, stay at home or at a hotel. All right, so let's see. Cork for a beer. Rich aroma. Fills up one glass. Fontaine, and I can't really pronounce these words accurately. Ude Gonze, Guze. It's got a very, you can tell it's beer, but it's a bit different. A little bit murky, maybe because it's cold. I like that's a mama's boy. He's going home now and give his mom a little kiss on the cheek, sleep in the basement. So I put it in the freezer for about a half hour, because I like my beer cold. Like, I don't drink a lot, I don't sit here and have 6-7 beers. One is enough. But when I have it, I want it to be cold. I want it to be cold. So maybe it's cold, murky like that because I took it out of the freezer, but first time. Right off the bat, I'm going to say, for me, very unusual. I've never had a beer that tasted like that. I'm gonna say what hits me first. My impression is that it tastes like beer with vinegar. Like if I were to take a Corona or something and put like maybe 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, that's what it would taste like. Has a bit of a vinegar flavor. Especially after flavor. You know, it's very similar to when you have vinegar. That's what it tastes like. It's not bad, but unusual for me. I'm not used to that flavor. Maybe it's acquired, right? You have to have 2 or 3 more down the line, and then you'll say, yeah, it's not bad. But right now, for me, it's not bad, but it's also surprising at first. Yeah. So it breaks it down like this. Barley malt, 60%. And then you go to raw wheat, 40%. So barley malt 60, and then raw wheat 40%. And then it says at the end here, old hops. A lot of people don't realize that hops are good for you. Like if you were to get capsules and consume hops, and you know, somebody would say, well, what are they good for? Inflammation. They're good for arthritis, you know, anything to do with inflammation, which is basically almost every disease is a byproduct of inflammation. But hops, and I don't mean the amount that are in a beer. Maybe you have to have a lot more hops. But hops are good for inflammation, such as arthritis, thick headaches, things like that. Yeah, that's exactly what it tastes like, beer and vinegar. So for $14, it says it's unfiltered. Tiny writing. But number 3, oh, and I want to say something about that number 3. So when I was a kid, I would watch Sesame Street. And there was a guy on Sesame Street. I'm pretty sure it was Sesame Street, not the electric company. I think it was Sesame Street. But if it was the electric company, you'll know who I'm talking about when I mention the story here. But there was a guy, and the guy I'm speaking of right now is the same guy, the actor who played Mr. Bentley on The Jeffersons. Mr. Bentley was American, but he had a British accent on that show. But before that, I was introduced to Mr. Bentley by watching Sesame Street, and he was the guy that would paint numbers. So he had a paint coat, and he had a bucket of paint and a paintbrush, and he would walk around town, and he would say in his brain, like you wouldn't see his lips move, he never talked. He was like Teller from Penn and Teller. And he would say, I'm gonna paint a 7. And then he would go on, I don't know, like the street or something and paint a 7. And then there would be a guy with a street cleaner, and he'd come by trying to clean it. And then there was another one that he was in a swimming pool. Bald guy was in a swimming pool on a raft, floating around like a momo. And that number guy came by, and he painted a number on his bald spot. That's what that reminds me of. And it kind of looks like he did it. Anyway, I'm going to start the cooking process. And I bought some cheese. Old cheese. I think it's French. We had some, very good. That one I highly recommend. This one here, it takes a little getting used to. I'm not going to trash it. It's, you know, it's good, but I'm not used to it. Yeah, if you ever have that, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly. But yeah. All right. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Have the hot dogs here. These are premium Welshire. Welshire, established 1996. Uncured beef franks. Beef is humanely raised without antibiotics or antibiotics. All natural, quality cuts of meat. So, got 2 of those. Just want to make some Anaheim peppers. Very, very, very good stuff. I love peppers. Corn. And right here, I have some hamburgers. They're right there. Got a few hamburgers there. So I'm gonna put the peppers on there. I'm gonna put the corn because they take a while. And these, once you get them blackened on the outside, you don't want to burn the inside, just the outside, the skin. Put them in a brown bag, like the kind they would give you in the 70s for lunch. And then what happens is they sweat, and then you peel the skin right off. Comes off like you had a bad sunburn. Comes right off. And then you cut them. Add a little bit of salt, pepper, olive oil, a little bit of vinegar, balsamic, and they're good to go. Anyway, I'm going to put these on the grill, and I'll be right back. All right, I am back. We finished eating a couple hours ago. I'm going to have a beverage, Uncle Matt's Organic Orange Juice. Big fan of this stuff. Delicious. Yeah, when I was a kid, a big beverage for me was orange juice. And my favorite one was Hood Premium. I mean, Hood was another brand that, you know, but my favorite, that was a good brand too. My favorite was Tropicana Premium. Love Tropicana Premium. I get Tropicana now once in a while, but it doesn't taste the same way it tasted back then. Refreshing. Very good, very delicious. So, yeah, today is a beautiful day. It's like perfect. If you could bottle this day up and open it once in a while and experience it, today is the perfect temperature. Just a feeling of well-being. Just saw a movie inside, television. Good concept, Brightburn. So it's kind of like the Superman story early on. these humans, they find a baby and raise it as their own. And then somewhere along the line, this child, as it grows, discovers it has powers, but he's evil. He's evil, destructive, hurts people. And realistically, if Superman was like that, there would be nothing you could do to stop him. No matter how many people attacked him, no matter how many weapons, you couldn't beat him. So, you know, luckily he ends up being a good guy on the television shows, but although I remember one of the movies Christopher Reeve was in, Reeves, he became an evil Superman. So, yeah, what can you do? Not much. Thing about orange juice, when I would have the premium Tropicana, I would wait for Saturday nights. Saturday nights had the Love Boat, which I enjoyed watching that. I'm a big fan of cruise ships, so I would watch the Love Boat. And then after the Love Boat was a show called Fantasy Island, Mr. Rourke. And at the beginning of every episode, the plane would land, which I've been to that place many times, where the plane lands at the Arboretum there. And then he would have a little drinky poo, a little tropical beverage in a nice glass, and everybody would have one, and he would, you know, smiles, everybody smiles, welcome to Fantasy Island. Then he would take a little sip and look at everybody suspiciously. So I would go in the kitchen and I would make a glass of, well, I wouldn't make it, I would just pour premium Tropicana into a glass and then sip it along with the rest of them. So good. Not much traffic today, just the occasional car going by. Sitting here right now, it feels like 1974. Has that feeling. One time, many years ago, this was like probably 1981, around there, 82, around there. I was walking around with a friend of mine, and there was some place he wanted to show me. It was kind of like out in the back of the woods area. And so he said, yeah, it's called Bigfoot, he goes, this area. And I go, why is it called that? He goes, you'll see. And so we ended up going there. But as we were walking, for some reason in my mind, it felt like it was 10 years before that. I can't even describe it. It just felt like it was like the early 70s, and here I am walking. You know, it's like how you picture decades in your brain to be. And that day when I was walking up that street, I was picturing how it would be in 1971. And I said, that's what it feels like right now. But anyway, so we went to this location, and he goes, let me show you something. And he goes, look. And I looked, and somebody had dug out a huge Bigfoot imprint into the ground. Like, when I say huge, I mean probably the size of a car. They dug it out, and it looked like a big footprint in the ground, but it was basically the size of a, you know, like a BMW or something. And I said, that's why they call it Bigfoot? He goes, yeah. I'd love for there to be a Bigfoot. I'd go and find it and take pictures, you know, tranquilize it, bring it back, but it does not exist. When you hear adults say stuff that, oh, Bigfoot is real, if you hear somebody say that, you're looking at a bunny brain. You're looking at a bunny brain, yeah. So, you know, not real. But I wish things like that, you know, were real. It would make life more interesting. Like, for example, I wish aliens from other worlds were real, like they actually came here. But as far as I can tell, I see zero evidence, zero, that any alien life form has ever visited Earth. I see zero. And every time they say they're going to release some files, they release goose eggs. Nothing. It's all exaggerated nonsense. No fly here. I'll tell you this, if I became president, the first thing that I would look at would be the alien files, if they have any. I would send my chief of staff, I'd call him over, I'd say, hey, listen up, I want you to go down and give me all the files that they have, all the top secret files on aliens, if they have any. Bring them here on my desk, I'm going to check them out. If they have any. They may have nothing. But I wish they had something. I wish. I've been wishing that since I was little. You know, ever since I became conscious of the fact that the universe is huge, I've been wishing for something to visit. Just me, visit me. I'm available. You know, I'm available. I'll go for, you know, if my parents back then missed me, you know, I mean, how attached were they to me? You know, I was only little back then, so I mean, I would have gone, and the aliens could have brought me back, and you know, would have been, I'm back now. What are you worried about? I'm back. But nothing. Everything so far you look at has a logical explanation. The only ones that don't are the videos or the pictures that are just way too far to differentiate, and they just can't answer it. They go, I don't know what that is. But the fact that they say I don't know doesn't mean it's aliens. You know, I go to the desert and I say, I wish right now one would show up. I would go inside. There's a little cat coming in. I watched Close Encounters when I was a kid, and they didn't have the scene inside the spacecraft, the mothership. I didn't even know that scene existed. And then in recent years, I bought the deluxe version, the remastered version. And about a year ago, I saw the whole thing, remastered, all that stuff. And then at the end, they give you the option. You could watch the ending where they actually go into the mothership. And I clicked on that, and that was pretty good. For the time they released, that was pretty cool. But I'm really fascinated, and I'm more fascinated with the life forms, if there are any, that are more advanced than us. Not the ones that are still in the primitive stages of, you know, development. I want to see something a million years more advanced than us, 100,000 years even, you know. Like even us, can you imagine 500 years, just 500 years from now, how advanced, you know, unless there's a war that destroys everything and then we have to start from scratch like the Dark Ages. But if you think of how much knowledge you gain every 10, 15 years, so imagine a million years from now how advanced humanity would be if we don't go through a great filter and annihilate ourselves through some kind of nuclear war or disease or something like asteroid impact. But yeah, that stuff always interested me. You know, I remember in the 5th grade we had the Scholastics. It was like a little a 2-page newspaper, and it had all these books that you could pick and read, and if you bought 3 books you got a free poster. Back then it was like Benji, get Benji as a poster. So I would get 3 books every time, and I'd get a poster. I think one time I got Sean Cassidy, the Hardy Boys. So one time there was a book in my eyes, they zeroed in on it, and it was called Earth's Hidden Mysteries, helicopter. I bet you $5. LAPD, yeah. That's exactly what that is. So, I bought it. Earth's Hidden Mysteries. I was in the 5th grade. I went home, I read it. Not that big of a book. I read it, and I specifically read the chapter on UFOs, which really back then, you know, I was really concentrating on things like that. I wanted it to be true. The next day I went in, and me and my friend John, during recess time, were discussing it, because he bought the same book. And they also had like the Bermuda Triangle in there. Not real. None of that stuff. I mean, aliens may be out there. I don't think they've ever been here. And as far as that book goes, Earth's Hidden Mysteries, all the incidences that they give examples of, they're all explained away. If you on the internet now and you type in those stories, they have the answers as to what really happened. You know, how did the crash happen? A lot of these, they ran out of gas, they crashed into the ocean. But anyway, the alien stories and the pictures they had this picture of a flying saucer, but they always fascinated me. But I want them to be real, and I don't want them to be like a Star Wars nonsense. I can't stand that movie. Can't stand Star Wars. But yeah, I want it to be like the kind of aliens that Steven Spielberg had in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That's what I want to see. I remember back in the late 80s, I was constantly thinking about, you know, like, you know, when you have a relative and they go to another part of the world and you're thinking, oh, what are they doing now? And you're picturing them, you know, having breakfast or something. Well, I was having these visions of, not visions, I was having these imaginary details in my head about what some other intelligent life form somewhere in the galaxy or universe would be doing right at that moment when I was doing whatever I was doing. You know, but I would love for something to come down here, because obviously we're not going there, and something that's really, really advanced, like, you know, 3, 4, 5, 10 million years ahead of us, and give us some kind of, you know, fascinating story about how all this came to be. Where'd all this matter come from? Where'd all these atoms come from that put the world together? You know, that would be fascinating. Very delicious. Uncle Matt's Organic orange juice. It says 1 ingredient only, and it's not from concentrate. Love at first sip. Is that clever? Makes you chuckle inside. Love at first sip. That's what it says. There they go. Got something in my eye. .52 fluid ounces. And I'm planning on going to hiking to the bridge to nowhere. Now, I think I could do it, but I want to take my kids with me, and I'm pretty sure that it's 10 miles each way. And 10 miles each way for them, maybe a little bit too much. You know, and it's not 10 miles each way on a straight road. That would be long too, but this is like zigzagging, it's going down, and then there's a point where you have to cross. I think it's like a river, so not a river, but it's like an area that has flooded from the melting snow or the rain or whatever. It's not deep, but you got to get in there, wet your shoes. You know, I hate walking in wet shoes, all mushiness. That's when you need sandals or, whoa, accident. Did you hear that? I'm gonna investigate. All right, I am back. That's exactly what that was. Car accident. Not surprising because that intersection every few months always has a car accident. And I can't tell you how many times I've run out there. It's like, you know, that movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. So today, same thing. One car on this side who doesn't have the right of way. This side has the right of way. But they went to cross over and the other car hit them. Happens all the time, exactly like that, exactly. I could have told you that happened that way before I even left. And that's what they told me. One of them, the person who was not at fault was an Uber driver. And she had no passengers. And she said, lucky I didn't have anybody with me. Nobody was hurt. I asked her if she's okay. She's fine, a little bit shaken up. But, you know, no damage. Airbags popped and everything. I mean, no physical damage to their bodies. The cars are all smashed up in the front. But I don't know how many accidents it's going to take before the city decides to put traffic lights there. When I was a kid, there was an area about a half a block from my house. Every 3-4 months there was a collision there. I was little back then. And you would be in the backyard and all of a sudden you'd hear the brakes screech. Because back then there were no anti-lock brakes. And then you'd go, okay, any second, and then it would be boom, and you'd hear it. And that happened quite a lot. And then one day, the city put 4-way stop signs, and then the accidents stopped. They haven't had, I mean, I don't remember an accident being in that spot for decades after that. But prior to the 4-way stop sign, every 3-4 months you'd hear boom, boom. One time I remember it was a Chevy Nova, a white one, and smashed into another car. I don't know what the other car was, but I ended up getting the Chevy logo that was on the ground. I took it as a souvenir. And me and my mother would always run to see what's going on. Back then the whole neighborhood would gather. You know, it was like any kind of accident, any kind of situation, like water main break or something, everybody in the neighborhood would come out like it was a parade. But yeah, that intersection, I don't know how many people, but it was like dozens and dozens of people would gather around and just watch. And I was one of them. Today, if it happened, you would have the cameras out, everybody would be videotaping. Back then, nobody. Otherwise, I'd have many memories of that situation or those situations as pictures. I'll say, look at this. I remember one time the water main broke about, I don't know, 30 feet from my house on the right. And I was on my bike, and we were doing like it was a rotary or something, going around it. Water at first was like rusty orange, and then it became a clear color, you know, like regular water. And fire department came and they put some tool in the ground, they spun it around and shut it off. And then after that, the Department of Water came by and they fixed it. And actually, I have pictures of that situation because we had a camera that had film in it, I remember. And I had to be about 8-9 years old. Yeah, I'd say about 8 years old. And I went upstairs, I got the camera, I gave it to my mother, she snapped a picture of it. Now locating that picture is a different story, but I know we had a shoebox full of old pictures. So yeah. Even here, one time there was a police pursuit, big chase. You could hear them, you know, chasing a Mercedes, one of the top of the line Mercedes, tinted windows, like high class car, and they were chasing it. They lost control up the street here, and I was inside. It was 1 o'clock in the morning or something. And I hear this loud bang, vibrated the whole area. the Mercedes lost control and smashed into one of the homes, not the house itself, but the staircase, made out of, you know, concrete. LAPD coming. They come by, they investigate, they write a report, but they never say, you know, hey, we recommend a traffic light here. Way too many accidents are happening. That's because nobody gets killed, you know. It's all accidents where people just, you know, they're okay. They're okay. Anyway, look what I got here. I got a shepherd sling. Nice thick leather. Look at that. Put the rock in here, and you get the momentum, and then you hurl, and if you're good at it, you hit the target. Very deadly. They used to use this for hunting. Look at that. That's nice leather, nice and thick, really good quality. Highly recommended. This will last forever. Nice. We practice in the desert. That way you don't hit something unintentionally, like your car. But yeah, this is really nice. Look at the thickness of that. So we put it away, we practice next week. It's like David and Goliath. Similar or exact. Anyway, that's it for now. I may be back later, who knows. Moped. Alright, that's it for now. Ciao.